Okay, today we're going to talk about something that is so important. Okay, if you have ever felt anxious in a relationship, okay, this is for you. Okay, if you are feeling like, oh my gosh, why isn't he texting me? Why did he look at me this way? Why is he saying this? Okay, if you ever have those kind of feelings in the past or now, currently, I am going to give you some information that I wish I knew years ago. Okay, there's different attachment styles, and you may have heard of this or not, but I'm just gonna quickly tell you. There's 4. Okay, secure. That's like the dream. That's a dream attachment style that you really want. Okay, and secure is basically you feel completely secure. You're very like, okay, you're not ever anxious. You're not feeling like, oh my God, why isn't he calling? Why isn't this? You are completely calm. Imagine that. Okay, you're in, I went years in relationships where I was always anxious. Like I was like, oh my God. I was jealous. Why did he look at me this, or why did he look at her that way? It was very much like a lot happening in my head. A lot of me not communicating, fears that I was feeling, right? Feeling I'm not good enough. I'm feeling, oh my gosh. And honestly, I really thought that was normal. Like I thought that was like, that's just what happens. Like I felt like everybody goes through this. So I really want you to hear this. Okay. I want you to take this in. A crazy love, right? That I want for you and that it exists is Zen. That's why, crazy, completely real, authentically, zenfully you. Okay. It is it's a healthy, secure relationship when you really feel so at peace. You are just yourself and you're loved, and there's just this calm, like this feeling, this energy that is not anxious at all. So look, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, you're thinking, wow, I feel anxious all the time and all my relationships. Okay. The number one thing is stop picking guys that add fuel to that anxious fire. Okay. A lot of times I would pick guys that would, make me feel like I'm not enough. I felt like I wasn't enough, and then they just never really gave me that kind of attention, that love, and just kind of even gaslighting, all those things, right? And I feel like 100,000,000%, just so you know, if you are anxious, you can actually have a secure attachment style, and it can change relationship to relationship. So if you are feeling this, when you have this clear idea of what you want in your partner, okay, make sure that you're putting things on your list, right, that really add to, okay, making you feel secure. Like, what does that look like? Okay, but one of the biggest things that you need to do is communicate, because sometimes you in your head are thinking like the worst. Wait a second, why? He just said this, and does that mean? And you think this awful thought. And it's probably because you've experienced a lot of shit, right, in the past. And I get it. But like, you need to ask the questions. Don't let it live in your head and let it just like simmer there and blow up and make you more anxious. The way that you become more secure is by showing up really authentic, open, and vulnerable, and you actually ask those questions. Like, so for example, if you're on a date with a guy and he was like, oh, I gotta take this call, okay, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is this about? Like, who is it? Is it his wife? Like, is it his girlfriend? Oh, I don't know. And you get all in your head about it. Oh my God, it's this guy. And then, in your head, you're like thinking all these thoughts. Then he gets back to the table. You don't say anything. Like, I just want you to ask a question. Like, oh, what happened? Is everything okay? Not like, who was it? What's going on? Like, you're not attacking, you're just giving space. Okay. And you say, well, what happened? Everything okay? Oh yeah, that was my mom. She's been sick, and I wanted to make sure to take, whatever it is, oh, and if you start thinking, oh my God, really? Was it his mom, or is he just lying? And then you can actually say, you know, I've dated guys in the past that sometimes like I've lied and I have some kind of like trust issues. Like seriously, say it. Like say the issues that you actually have had, you know, and see how he responds. Oh my God, whatever. Like if he has no patience for you, oh my God, you're so weird. Then it's bye-bye time. Fuck him. But if you're being really honest and open about things, like I do really encourage you not carrying all the experiences and already say, oh, this guy's a lying bastard, like my exes. I don't want you to do that. Instead, what I'm challenging you on is, you know, it would be great to have a clean slate and you meet a guy and give him the benefit of the doubt. And it's always okay, trust him until he gives you reason not to. But I want you to ask questions, really dig in. And if you really feel in your gut, like, oh my God, I have that fear in my mind that like he's lying or something like that, I want you to actually be honest and tell him. I know it sounds like that's crazy, Jackie. It's not playing the game, but that's what I'm not for the game. Like I'm really not. Like if he's your person, he would be empathetic. He would be like, oh my God, Jackie, like, or whoever, you know, I can't believe you've gone through all of that. I can tell you never in my life have I ever cheated on anybody. That's not, you know, my parents. And then like they'll actually have that empathy. They will have compassion. They will help you feel secure. They will help ease your anxiety. Do you see what I mean? And that's better than, you know, if you're meeting and you're with your person, right? And they take a phone call and in your mind, you're building this whole story and it's all like this shit show of like anxiety. And then you're like, oh my God, it's over. It's just so not going to work ever. Like in your mind, right? And you don't ever say anything to him. It's like you never even gave this a chance. Okay. Like this is why so many times we're in our own way. Okay. So the more open and vulnerable you are, the more vocal you are, the more you realize, oh my God, he can't read my mind. Okay, I need to communicate what I'm thinking. I need to communicate what I'm feeling. I'm a little worried that, wait, what does he mean by that? Instead of just wondering, just ask him, like right there on the spot. If he's, you know, if you want, like, whatever it is you want in your life, okay? Sometimes we're so scared, like, oh my God, if I say this, it's going to scare him away. And I just want you to just be 100% you. And that equals, that means that you have to actually say the things that you're thinking, you know, and you might be like, oh my God, that's crazy. That's a crazy thought. It's like, well, wait a second. It's not. Like, I feel like you need to give yourself some grace. Okay. I feel like you have gone through a lot and your person will have compassion. Your person is not going to be a freaking asshole. And if he is, he's not your person. Do you see what I mean? I hope that this is like getting into your heart, because I have, you know, I work with a lot of clients and, you know, I see it, that anxiety that was in me for years. And it's amazing when my clients are like, oh my God, this is so easy. I feel like so like happy. I feel like at peace. Like, oh my God, like, is this real? Like, this is like a fairy tale, like those things, you know? And I'm like, but that's it. Like, that is like crazy love. Like the love that I really believe in, that I have, that I know it exists for you. Okay. And when you've spent years feeling anxious, you're like, oh, I thought that was it. Like, you don't even know how great this amazing love can be. Like, you don't even know. You can't even imagine it because you're stuck in those familiar feelings of anxiety. So if you keep dating and you stay feeling that anxiety and you're not actually opening your mind up to the idea of like, oh my God, there's this great love that exists for me where I never have to feel anxious. You're like, wait a second. I would love for you guys to actually journal after we hang up. I feel like we're on a phone call. After you finish listening to this episode, journal about this. I want you to write down, like, how would you feel? Like, can you imagine it? Can you imagine being in a relationship where you don't feel anxious? where you could be really honest and raw and tell him like your fears and give him the opportunity to show up for you. And like, honestly, you will be surprised. You'll be surprised how quickly you find out when that person is not your person. So perfect. You didn't fuck it up. No. Like, the more honest you are about what's going on in your head, the more clarity you get. I know this takes courage. I know. And that you have to be like fucking fearless. But this is why I'm here. I hope I'm pushing you. I want to push you out of your comfort level. You got to get a little uncomfortable, but I promise you it's worth it. I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, this exists. So journal about that. You got homework. And I really appreciate you listening. And I believe in your happily ever after. I know it exists. And I'm here for you. Okay. So with that, remember, don't settle for anything less than crazy love, because it has to be crazy love or nothing.